Hey everyone, this is your stimulus check update for Friday, August 21st. In this video, I'll be going over the following. First of all, the skinny bill or lean bill that was proposed by some senators. I will talk about some holdups of the next stimulus bill. I will talk about the timeline for the next stimulus check, and I will go over some potentially good news on the fight against the coronavirus. To all you subscribers to my channel, welcome back. Thank you once again for watching. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, my name is Justin and I do stimulus check updates and give financial advice. So be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so that you'll be notified each and every time I upload a new video. And if you find this content helpful, please be sure to like this video so that YouTube will share it with others. So let's talk about this skinny or lean bill that there's been so many people talking about recently. A lot of the comments in my comment section are asking about the skinny bill, and so I want to cover it once again. So basically there was a smaller or a lean bill, as they're calling it, that was proposed by a few senators this week, and it included some of the following provisions. First off, $300 per week unemployment extension, Paycheck Protection Program funding for small businesses, funding for health and education, $10 billion for the United States Postal Service. However, surprisingly, and this is the thing that I think most people are focusing on, and it's the thing that I'm going to really focus on, there was no stimulus check included in this skinny bill. So this has a lot of people worried that the next stimulus check is not going to happen. Well, I'm going to go over a little bit why I don't think that that's the case and why I don't think that this bill is going to pass. First off, both the House and the Senate and the White House have all previously said that they want a $1,200 stimulus check for individuals. And even the White House and President Trump have asked for more than $1,200. Most of the people that are actually going to be making the deals on the next stimulus package already want a $1,200 stimulus check. This proposal does not include one, so because of that reason, I don't think it's going to pass. If they even propose it and it does pass in the Senate somehow without a stimulus check, there is no way the House of Representatives is going to pass this stimulus bill. This is the skinny stimulus bill. I don't think it's going to pass, but it is a bill that was proposed this week, and I know a lot of people are talking about it, and a lot of people are worried that it means that we're not going to get a second stimulus check. I don't think this bill is going to pass, and I do still think that a second stimulus check is going to happen. So what are the holdups? Let's talk about now the holdups of the next stimulus package, because the next stimulus package, like the main stimulus package that I think is going to be the one that includes a stimulus check, is what we're all kind of waiting for and wondering when it's going to happen. Well, let's go over some of the things that are still holding it up. One of the things is the unemployment benefit extension. The House wants to renew the $600 per week extension, while the Senate has come up to about $400 from their original $200 amount. Somewhere between $400 and $600 for the unemployment extension. That has to be resolved. Funding for schools has to be resolved. The House wants funding for schools no matter what. The Senate wants funding for schools, but possibly tied to reopening. And if schools aren't reopening, then the funding would go to the parents of the individual, or the parents of the kids that are in those areas where the schools are that aren't reopening. In addition to this, state and local government funding, the House of Representatives wants $1 trillion for state and local governments, while the Senate wants a much lower number than that. In addition to this, one of the biggest holdups is the overall total amount of the bill. The House of Representatives, their original bill was $3 trillion or $3.5 trillion, and they said that they would accept a bill that's about $2 trillion. The Senate really doesn't want to be above $1 trillion and hasn't really budged from that $1 trillion mark. So the House has made some concessions on moving down their total amount. The Senate has made some concessions on moving up the unemployment benefit extension, as well as adding some funding for state and local governments. The House is not budging on the unemployment benefit extension being lower than $600, and they don't want less than $1 trillion for state and local governments. Those are some of the biggest sticking points. As I talked in my previous video, the United States Postal Service funding has been a pretty big sticking point, especially last week and over the weekend, but it seems like the White House and the Chief of Staff, Mark Meadows, have both said that they will include stimulus funding for the post office as part of the next stimulus deal. And even Mark Meadows said that if it's included, along with some of the things that the Trump administration is asking for, that President Trump would sign it right away. So the Postal Service isn't really the thing, I think, that's holding up this next stimulus deal. But it's the amount on unemployment, the amount for schools and whether they need to reopen or not, and the amount for state and local government assistance. So those are kind of the main things right now that are holding things up. Negotiations really have kind of stalled, and there's not a lot that's going on between Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, Mark Meadows, and Steven Mnuchin. Those were the four that were negotiating the next stimulus package, and they really haven't met for about a week and a half now. So if they're not meeting, what is the timeline for the second stimulus check? Well, Senator Tim Kaine said in an interview with Politico, once we get out of the Republican convention, the Democrat National Convention is actually going on this week, and then next week the Republican National Convention will be going on. Those two conventions, once those are done, the week before Labor Day, this is what Senator Kaine said, once we get out of the Republican Convention, the week before Labor Day, you're going to see serious negotiations restart. And that means we could do something possibly right after Labor Day when we return. So if we are actually looking at right before they return and right after Labor Day, then this is the timeline for the second stimulus check. I'm going to look once again at the timeline from cnet.com, and I have that up on the screen, and I have a link to it in the description below. Since the House and Senate are now on recess and aren't able to reconvene until Labor Day, the second stimulus check most likely will be pushed out until September. Both Nancy Pelosi and Mitch McConnell have said that Congress would reconvene if a stimulus deal is made, and could reconvene within 24 hours if a stimulus deal is made. And even the House is coming back in this week to vote on some post office funding legislation. But for now, unless a deal is made, both of them are technically on recess, but they could come back if a deal is made. If the Senate passes a stimulus deal on September 8th and the House passes it on September 9th, President Trump signs it the following day, the first stimulus checks could be going out as soon as September 21st. And that's for direct deposit stimulus checks, and then paper checks would follow soon thereafter. If they can't get a deal by then, the 10th of September, as it's showing in this chart, then it would be pushed out all the way until the week of September 28th. Unfortunately, this is what we're looking at for the next stimulus check. The talks have not gone great recently, and so it's getting pushed back into September. But I do still think there will be a second stimulus check. The skinny bill, I don't think has a chance of passing, so I really do think that there will be another stimulus check. So I want to talk about some potential good news on the fight against the coronavirus. A recent report showed some positive signs for those that have had the coronavirus before and have antibodies in their systems. So far, it has been unknown whether antibodies in the system prevent you from contracting the coronavirus once again. That's something that they've been trying to figure out and have been trying to see, what the effects are if you've had the coronavirus and your body creates those immune response and creates those antibodies, whether you can actually contract it again. So Fox News has an article, and I'll leave a link to this article in the description below, that a report from studying the crew of a fishing boat that sailed from Seattle for 18 days, they found that 85% of the crew were infected with the virus upon return, because they did testing before they left, and none of them had the virus before they left. But this confirmed a few things. First off, that as we kind of know, being in close quarters around a bunch of other people means that the spread of coronavirus can happen pretty quick and pretty extensively across the people that are in those close quarters. There was also some good news, though, that came out from this report. There were 3 people that tested for antibodies before they left on this sea voyage of 18 days. When they returned, 104 out of 122 were infected. So those 3 that had antibodies before they left for those 18 days, those 3 people were not infected by the coronavirus, even though 104 out of 122 were infected. They also said that the other 15 or so that weren't infected probably weren't in as close of contact as the rest of the crew. But those 3 that had antibodies were not infected. Dr. Alex Greninger, co-author of the report posted on medRxiv and reported by the Seattle Times, said, "It's a strong indication that the presence of neutralizing antibodies is associated with protection from the virus." And he added, "It's hopeful news." What can we learn from this? It's that first of all, if you've had the coronavirus, there's a good chance you're not going to get it again. In addition to this study, among other studies that have been done, are an encouraging sign as many companies strive for a vaccine against the virus. Thank you once again for watching. I do appreciate you. And remember to stay positive. Remember to focus on those things in your life that are going well and those things that are good in your life. If you have a family, if you have a home, if you have food, focus on those things that are going well. Look for the positive things in your life and it will lead to a lot more happiness. Also look for opportunities to help other people that are in need and help other people that are even less fortunate than you. I do appreciate each and every one of you, and stay safe, stay healthy, and I will talk to you again soon.